passionate advocate for the education of girls and young women in Jordan's refugee camps, Musin has been hailed as Syria's answer to Malala. When Musin's family fled the war in Syria in early 2013, they briefly considered leaving her behind. The bright 14-year-old had been studying hard all year for her grade 9 school exams, which were just a month away, and her aunt urged the family to let her stay and continue her education. In the end, her father decided the risks were too great, and so she fled with him and her siblings across the border to Jordan. I knew she could make up for lost schooling, but if you lose your life there's no way to make up for that. Abu Muhammad, 45, told me when I met the family in Jordan's Azraq refugee camp. Education has always played a big part in Musin's life. Both of her parents were teachers back in Syria's southern Daraa province, and her aunt and uncle were head teachers at local schools. I didn't need them to tell me that education is important. I always just felt it, she explains. Our house was built by an engineer. When I was sick I went to a doctor. Education is everything in life. Now 17, her deeply held conviction of the importance of education has become a defining feature of Musin's life in exile. Not only has she continued her studies in Jordan, but she has also become a forceful and increasingly high-profile advocate for education among Syrian refugees, particularly young women and girls. Her campaigning has drawn comparisons with Malala, Pakistan's Nobel Prize-winning education advocate, whom Musin has met several times and considers a personal friend. She taught me that no matter what obstacles I face in life, they can be overcome. Before the crisis began, Musin remembers a normal, middle-class life surrounded by friendly neighbors and relatives. I'm not saying I was a queen back in Syria. We had problems, good things and bad things, but it was like any normal life, she says. The family's main home in Isra was close to a military base that regularly came under attack, leaving them trapped in the crossfire. Unable to endure the fighting any longer, they made their way to Jordan and settled initially in Za'atari refugee camp. Before arriving they had little idea what to expect, and the transition was tough. Back home, Musin and her 3 younger siblings each had their own room, and now the whole family was forced to share a single tent where they slept, cooked and washed. Thankfully, Musin's biggest fear, that there would be no schools in the camp, was quickly dispelled. She enrolled in summer classes to get to grips with the new Jordanian curriculum before passing her grade 9 exams. As she continued her schooling, she noticed that many of her fellow pupils stopped attending classes, often girls around her own age. She heard about one girl who had dropped out and was trying to sell her school books. Musen sought her out and convinced her to change her mind. A campaigner was born. After that, I began advocating for education anytime and any place. To my friends, their parents, neighbors, or even just girls I met in the street, she says. She has also fought against the widely held belief within the camps that early marriage is the best way to secure the future of young female refugees. When I hear of people not letting their daughters go to school or marrying them off early, it makes me angry, she says. Education is the armor that will protect you in life. If you get married before finishing your education, you won't be able to solve your own problems or educate your own children. When I first met Musen in Azraq, where the family moved a little over a year ago, it's hard to imagine this neat, polite young woman going door to door to cajole parents into letting their daughters attend school. But as our interview starts, her gaze becomes intense and the pitch of her voice begins to rise with the passion of her argument. Indomitable was the description used by award-winning author and UNHCR Goodwill Ambassador Khaled Hosseini when he met Musen on a visit to the camp, and it's easy to see why.
احنا باي مكان واي زمان لازم صحت لنا فرصه بالتعليم، لازم نكمل تعليمنا. ما لازم نعتبر انه كمخيم لازم يكون تحدي إلنا، ما بتوقف حياتنا وندمر مستقبلنا علشان انه نحن نعتبر هون التعليم مش مهم. جيت على الأردن فكرت اني ما راح اقدر اكمل تعليمي، فهذا الشيء يخليني كثير مبسوطه عن جد ويعطيني الامل والتفاؤل. يعني على الرغم حتى لو بتكون البنت بدها تتعلم، يكونوا اهلها بفضلوا انه زواجها. اما هون يعني صار اكثر واكثر، يعني انه صار براي الاهل انه انا شلون مثلا بدي احافظ على بنتي بزواجها، يعني يعتبروا انه الزواج يامن مستقبل البنت اكثر ما انه تعليمها يامنه. بينما انت اذا تزوجتي وواجهتك اي مشكله بحياتك ما راح تقدر تساعدي نفسك او يمكن تساعدي اولادك بالمستقبل. صراحه انه انا حطيت قدامي هدف، يعني وهدف انه انا عارف انه هذا الشيء مهم. تطلق علي لقب مثل ملالفه، يعني انا نشاطي كثير كبير، نشاطي كثير مهم، نشاط الناس كثير مقتنعه فيه. علمتني انه مهما واجهتنا صعوبات بحياتنا هي ما راح تكون مرحله تحدي إلنا. ما ظلت ساكته، يعني هي انسانه رفعت صوتها بوجه انه تحصل على حقها في التعليم. حتى لو كان اني عمري بهذا العمر فانا بقدر انشر حول العالم نشاطاتي، مش بس هون كمخيم. كل شيء تعلمته من أهلي، يعني ما في شيء إني ما تعلمته من أهلي، إنه أهلي علموني كل شيء بحياتي، علموني الاحترام، خاصة إني أكون دائما أكون شخصيتي من ذاتي، يعني دائما تكون آرائي من ذاتي. بشعر إنه هاي كل المشاكل اللي أنا واجهتها ما تغلبت علي. كل الأشياء اللي تخلينا نبني، لأنه التعليم كل شيء بحياتنا، فإحنا يخلينا دائما نعرف ونستشعر بأهمية التعليم. ورح نقدر عن جد إذا كان عندنا الأمل رح نقدر نبنيها ورح نخليها يمكن أحسن ما كانت.
She says she has encountered opposition along the way. Some people refuse to listen from the start. They think, why should we listen to her? She's my children's age. But I don't let it discourage me. The opposite, in fact. It makes me want to talk to more people and try again and again. Her friendship with Malala has provided Musin with a role model for her campaigning cause, as well as raising her profile within the camp and beyond. She has met several other high-profile visitors to Iraq, and understands the importance of spreading her message through them to a wider audience. As an individual, I can convince people I meet to go to school, but I can't build the schools or provide the teachers, she acknowledges. We need the help of the international community to do that, so I need to get the message out to those who have the resources to help. When I express admiration at what she has achieved despite her age and difficult circumstances, she brushes off the compliment. Of course I have tried to turn this experience into a positive one, she says. Being a refugee doesn't have to ruin your life. Many successful people have gone through hard times. Education has given Musin's life in exile a newfound purpose, and her simple message to the world is that the same can and should be true for every young refugee.